Today I'm gonna give you step-by-step instructions what exactly you have to do after a heavy binge. So the problem that a lot of people have is that after a heavy binge, they just fall into the guilt trap. They just keep repeating the same guilty and self-blaming thought, which leads to the diet binging cycle, because a person feels guilty and it starts restricting more the next days, starts a really restrictive diet, and then the next binge follows. So that's why it's really important to take the right steps after the binge so that we can go back to our healthy diets and just move forward. That's why I really recommend following these steps that I'm gonna share, and I hope it will help you go back to your healthy habits. I will be talking about a really heavy binge, not an occasional overeating, but a really heavy binge. This is when a person eats a huge amount of food, mainly unhealthy, in a short period of time. After this binge, a person feels really bad physically, so the stomach is so full that it hurts. That's when these steps have to be applied. So after a heavy binge, the first thing you really have to work on, and it's really important, is your thoughts and your mindset. As I already mentioned, a lot of people start blaming themselves for not being disciplined enough, not having enough willpower. And when binge eating episode happens, it's not a willpower problem. When a person binges, it means that her body is trying to tell her something. So if you binged, first thing you have to do is not blame yourself, but to start analyzing why it happened. What were you feeling the previous week before the binge? What were you feeling the previous day? What were you eating the previous week? Were you restricting more than usual? For example, I binged last week. And after I binged, I started thinking, well, what does my body wants to tell me? What was I doing wrong the previous week? What was I feeling? What was I thinking about? What emotions did I have? It turned out that the entire week before the binge, I was really stressed and anxious, and I had a lot of negative thoughts. It's actually, probably my fault, because I wasn't working on my mindset enough. I was blaming myself for every little thing, and these were really self-hate thoughts. That's probably when I have to be more mindful. And also, I was restricting more than usual this week. I was eating a lot less than I needed to. It all piled up and I binged at the end of the week. So after the binge, I wasn't blaming myself, but I learned a lesson that I have to work on my mindset. I have to work on my positive thinking. I have to develop stress management technique and also be more grateful, develop a gratefulness habit. As you see, when binging happens, it's not a food problem, but it's more a psychological and mental problem. That's where you have to work with your thoughts, but not with your diet. So after you finished analyzing, the next step is to move as much as possible. So usually if you had a heavy binge, you feel like your stomach is going to burst and you feel uncomfortable in any position. Like no matter what position you take, if you sit or lie down, your stomach just hurts. In this case, please don't lie down and don't sit. You just have to walk. Go out and walk. First of all, it will calm your thoughts down. It will calm yourself down. It will also help your digestion, because walking is really good for your digestion. Your bowel movement improves when you're walking, so please do it. If you don't want to go outside, just walk around in your room. With some time, you will feel a lot better. But just please keep moving, but don't do any heavy exercises, a workout after the binge, because it will have an opposite effect. It will be really hard for your digestive system to digest the food, but walking really helps. Another thing that you have to do is you also have to drink lukewarm water or tea, those teas that help with digestion, because lukewarm water is actually really good for digestion. Please don't drink cold water. If you feel like you can't drink anything because you feel so bad, just try taking little sip. It will really help with your digestion and it will help your stomach. The next thing that I usually do is that I open up a fasting window after a binge. I usually try to fast for 24 hours right after the binge. I know it sounds a little bit scary, but if you had a really heavy binge, 24 hours is really easy to survive. You don't actually feel hungry. For example, if you binged at 1 p.m. the previous day, you can eat only at 12 p.m. on the next day. The thing is that this fasting will help your digestive system digest all the food that is inside of you, this huge amount of food, and maybe you will even feel a little bit hungry at the end of your fast. And if you do like a full 24-hour fast, you will even let your digestive system rest a little bit. Imagine that it was working this entire time to digest all the food. So I really recommend to fast. Another good thing is that it actually stops you from eating, because a lot of people, when they're binging, especially when they start binging at the beginning of the day, they can't really stop eating. They just keep eating and eating and eating. It's really hard to stop. But when you just tell yourself, okay, I'm opening up a fasting window. Right now I'm going to fast for 24 hours. You take your phone and you set a timer and you just fast. And it's a lot easier for you not to eat because you know I'm fasting right now. I really recommend doing that. I really love this quote that I have on my Pinterest board. I found this quote a long time ago. The quote says, "If you fell down yesterday, stand up today." I really like this quote. Yes, you binged, but it doesn't mean that you erased all your progress. Like, yes, you fell today, but it's not important what you did. What's important is what you will be doing. What are your next steps? What's important is that you stand up on the next day, or even stand up on the next meal. You just keep going. You just stand up. And this quote really helped me. When a binge eating episode happens, it's really hard to stand up again. Because all these guilty thoughts and all these thoughts, because you keep thinking that you lost all the progress, that you will gain weight, that you will be bloated, that you have no self-discipline. Yeah, these thoughts can be devastating. That's where you have to apply my first tip. Don't think about what you did, because it's already done. You can change it. Make a plan. Stand up and follow this plan again. Just go back to your healthy diet. Forget what happened. Let it go. Do what's right. Just keep going like nothing happened, because you already did all the work. Like, if you follow the steps that I shared, you already did all the work. You already learned your lesson, and now you can use this knowledge to improve, to make progress, to try even harder, and to keep going. I don't see binge eating episodes as failures, but I see them as a way for us to learn more about ourselves, to improve our lifestyle actually. Because, for example, if you binged and when you did your analyzing and you realized that you were working too much, you didn't give yourself any rest during the week, you learned something. That's how I see these binge eating episodes. They let you think about what you are doing wrong and improve it, and next time do better. So please don't blame yourself, but learn. Yes, the last tip, what I'm doing is that right after the fast, I am drinking kefir. I don't know if you know what kefir actually is, because kefir is a fermented milk drink. It's similar to yogurt, but it's thinner in texture, and it's usually a bit tangier or slightly fizzy. It has a lot of probiotics, gut beneficial bacteria that support gut health. It has a lot of nutrients. It will just help your digestion, so I really recommend drinking it after your fast to just help your gut even more. And after that, yeah, as I said, I just keep following my healthy diet. But on the day after the fast, I'm just trying to eat more like fiber-rich foods to improve the digestion. So these were actually all my tips. You know what to do next. You just have to follow your healthy diet. If you really take care of yourself, not only in eating, but also in like you having a good work-life balance, giving yourself enough rest, doing what you love, experiencing positive emotions, then you are actually doing a good thing. Like, you will not be binging because your life is really balanced. You are taking care of yourself and you love yourself. So please do it. And I really hope that you will not have to use these tips, because you will not binge ever again. I know how hard it is to have a binge eating disorder. Please understand that you're not alone. A lot of people have this. It is possible to heal this. In order to heal this, you just have to stand up. You have to stand up and keep going and keep going and keep learning and keep improving. That's what you have to do. So, okay, calm down. Everything is all right. You are all right, and trust yourself. Bye, guys.